Hey everyone, it's Emily, and today I wanted to talk about some nonfiction books that I would like to read in the relatively near future. So I've been fitting in a lot of fiction books this year, and I've mentioned this before, but that's actually pretty rare for me. I tend to read more nonfiction than I do fiction. And so this year, it's not that I overcorrect for that because, you know, fiction is great, but there definitely, I think, can be a good balance between me reading some of the nonfiction that I would like to read and some of the fiction. So today I thought I would talk about some books that I'm really excited to get to that are in the nonfiction genre. I know there are quite a few on my list coming up that are fiction, and I've just kind of been on that roll recently, so I'm not sure how long it's going to take for me to actually get to some of these books, but these are some nonfiction that I'm really excited to get to. So the first one I want to talk about is The Library Book by Susan Orlean. I first heard about this one on Zoe from Read by Zoe's channel, and this one just seems really cool. So this follows a 1986 fire that happens at the public library in Los Angeles, and that kind of, my understanding is that that starts and kind of is the center or the lens through which discussion about libraries happens in this book. So I think this book is just in general about libraries, how important they are, what librarians do, and how librarians and libraries have changed over the years. So that just seems really, really cool. I have always loved libraries. I spent a lot of time at libraries as a kid. I would like to spend more time at libraries than I currently do, but I do read a lot of audiobooks from my library, but I want to go to the physical library more than I do. Anyway, so this is just one that she said was really, really well written and incredibly interesting if you like libraries and are interested in libraries and how they're run and how they've changed over time. So I definitely would love to pick this up. I also would like to pick up a couple of LGBTQI memoirs. So one of the ones I'd like to pick up is Born Both by Hida Valoria. I've actually got the chance to meet Hida Valoria in undergrad. So Hida's incredibly interesting, fascinating, brilliant, so well spoken, so I think I'm really going to enjoy this book. So he does intersex and has kind of presented both in a more feminine and masculine way, and so yeah, I just think this will be an incredibly interesting story, and the story of one intersex person, but also just talk more about intersex rights and what's happening now when a child is born with either physical characteristics or genetic elements that don't clearly classify them as either male or female. And yeah, so I'm incredibly excited. Another one that I would like to get to is Sorted by Jackson Bird. I actually knew Jackson in high school. Jackson is a trans activist, and so this is his memoir and just his experiences, and so I want to read this not only because I would like to support him, but I also just think it would be incredibly interesting because we went to the same high school and had at least some similar experiences, and at least had some similar cultural things around us. I think it'd be really interesting to just see his perspective. So he's a YouTuber, so I'll be sure to link his channel down below. So he talks a lot about trans issues on his channel. He's also actually known for the Will It Waffle series, where he puts a bunch of different things in a waffle iron and we'll see if they'll kind of waffle properly. It's great. And this one comes out on September 24th, so depending on when this is posted, it'll either about to be out or will have just come out. I also would like, so I've also started this one. So this is the Essential Feminist Reader, and it's edited by Estelle Friedman. So it was published in 2007, and it just kind of is a collection of essential feminist texts going back, 600 years and starting around 1400, and just kind of having a bunch of texts that were kind of key feminist texts of their time, and just kind of following those up to the present day, or up to when this was published in 2007. And I've started it. It is fascinating to go back over some really, really old feminist texts. It's just fascinating. And so I'm excited to continue with this. And just kind of see the progression of feminist thought over time. And this obviously is not going to be complete, and obviously is at the very least 12 years old, and I know there's been a lot happening in the last 12 years, so this isn't going to be anything comprehensive, but I think it will be a really kind of just good foundation for at least some of the progression of feminist thought through time. This is another one that I've started and need to finish. I've talked about it a little bit on this channel because I've been meaning to finish this for a while, and that is Rage Becomes Her by Surya Chemley, and this talks about feminine rage and the ways in which women are discouraged from feeling rage, let alone expressing rage in a healthy way or anger in a healthy way. And so she talks about institutional sexism. She talks about how that affects different women in different ways, particularly women of color. She also talks about the physical manifestations of repressing that rage and how it can physiologically impact women in very different ways, and combine that with women not getting medical treatment that is equal to what men often receive. That can be a very dangerous combination. So she talks a lot about that as well. I don't have a sense of how much she'll talk about trans women in this book or not. I don't have a sense of where that is going to go or who all she's actually talking about in this book, just because I've only read a small portion of it. But I'm definitely eager to continue reading this book and see what I think. And I've been meaning to I got this years ago and I haven't read it, but I haven't gotten rid of it because I know I really, really, really want to. And that is Original Meanings by Jack Rakove. The original meanings that he's talking about here are the original meanings of the Constitution. So there's obviously a lot of discussion about what the original intent or what the framers of the Constitution meant by a particular phrase, and those things are very hotly debated. And so I think it'll be interesting to read a text where he tries to explore, well, what did those things originally mean back when the Constitution was written? So yeah, I think this will be interesting and help feed my political curiosity about that time period. And I of course can't make this list without at least one environmental book. And I'm gonna pick Brave New Arctic by Mark Cerise. So this is just the story of the Arctic in a time of climate change, and just his conversations with scientists, his conversation with different groups that have an interest in the Arctic, and just the battles that are going on there and how it's changing, how the politics and landscape and energy systems are changing because the Arctic is melting. And so I think this is going to be a huge part of the story of climate change, and so I think it'll be good to kind of get this context and get this background about the Arctic and how it's currently changing. This was published in 2018, so it's a relatively recent book. I have an older one that's about the Arctic, but I think it also kind of ties a lot of the history of the Arctic in, so I think at least that part will still be relevant. But yeah, but it's always good to get updated information, especially about something that's changing so quickly. So this one is definitely one that I would like to get to before this also gets outdated and more books come out about the Arctic. So those are some nonfiction books that I would like to get to in the near future. So obviously as I'm reading them, I'll be doing wrap-ups about them. Maybe I'll do a nonfiction wrap-up at some point where I kind of go back to these and kind of give my thoughts on these books as a whole whenever I can finish them. So that's it for this video. Have you read any of these books? Of course, let me know what nonfiction books are on your list to read coming up. I'll be sure to link my Twitter and Instagram down below. That's where I like to hang out. I will also link my climate change channel. I'm going to be filming for that one as I'm filming this set of videos that I'm filming right now. So depending on when this is posted, hopefully there will be new content on that channel as you're hearing about this. So be sure to check that out and subscribe to that as well. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.